Roma went into this season with high expectations because they had finished the previous season quite impressively and they had a good summer transfer window, bringing in experienced defenders like Mario Hermoso and Mats Hummels, exciting midfielders like Manu Kone, and a statement signing Artem Dojbak, who was La Liga's top scorer last season. But things didn't start off well in the Serie A season. A 0-0 draw with Cagliari, followed by a 2-1 loss to Empoli, a 0-0 draw with Juventus, a 1-1 draw with Genoa, just 4 games into the season, and Daniel De Rossi was sacked. Roma's replacement was Croatian Ivan Juric, who started life off for Roma brilliantly, a 3-0 win over Udinese. That was followed by a draw with the Athletic Club and a 2-1 win versus Venezia. Then regular service resumed. There was a few wins but more losses, including embarrassing defeats to Elfsborg, the lowest ranked team in the Europa League, and a 5-1 defeat to Fiorentina. And just a couple days ago, Juric has lost his job and Roma's solution is 73-year-old Claudio Ranieri. Roma are an absolute mess right now, and in this video I'm going to be talking about it. There's no doubt Roma have massively underperformed this season, but that's nothing new. It's what they've been doing for essentially a decade. We go back to the 13-14 season, they finished second to Juventus, who finished on 102 points, Roma finished with 85. And over the next couple of seasons, Roma would be the team battling that dominant Juventus team. From the 13-14 season to the 17-18 season, Roma were in the top 3 of Serie A every single year. The closest they got to winning the Scudetto was in 16-17. They had a team including the likes of Wojtek Szczesny, Antonio Rudiger, De Rossi, Francesco Totti, Mo Salah. A lot of really good players, but yet they still couldn't win the league. They still couldn't win a trophy. Now, finishing in the top 3 isn't necessarily underperforming, but when you have that great team that's consistently finishing in the top 3 every single season for numerous seasons, although Roma did well to be competing over the last 3 or 4 seasons and they did overperform in the Champions League, getting to the semi-finals in 2018, they had nothing to show for their efforts, which is underperforming. And every year since that 16-17 season, Roma have got progressively worse. In the years since, Roma have won a trophy, winning the Conference League in 2022, but they still haven't gotten back in the Champions League. That team Mourinho managed never really were good enough to compete for titles, but you feel they probably could have scraped a 4th place finish maybe one season, but they never did. It's very hard to judge Mourinho's time at Roma because you probably think they should have got at least one season where they qualified for the Champions League, so they underperformed in the league, but they definitely overperformed in Europe, winning the Conference League and getting to a Europa League final. After Mourinho was sacked, it's not like things improved. De Rossi had a good run of form, but the fixtures were fairly straightforward, and despite there being 5 Champions League spots in Serie A that season, Roma still couldn't get back into Europe's biggest competition. And now we're up to present day, where Roma sit 12th in Serie A, just 4 points off the relegation zone. And this is the level Roma have fallen to, being linked with Frank Lampard to take over as their permanent manager. It is a sad day for the football club, but it's not really a surprise. This has been building for years. Look at players like Cristante and Pellegrini, for example, 2 players that have been at Roma a very long time, but this season they aren't performing. They're 2 players you know are good footballers. They're both Italian internationals, but this season they've been abysmal. And what I said about Mourinho's team is he had the squad that was good enough to be qualifying for the Champions League every season, but they weren't performing like that. They weren't playing like that. They had the players with the ability to do it, but they weren't. But now 10 months later, with virtually the same squad, the same thing is happening, only worse, because Roma are currently 12th in Serie A. Results aren't good. They're not playing good. Massively underperforming for players you know have quality, or at least had quality. Roma are now into their 3rd manager of the season in Ranieri. He's only there for an interim basis, but still their 3rd manager. If results don't improve under him, you have to question whether it's really the manager's fault and it's just the players. Similar to what Man United are going through right now, where that core group of players just clearly aren't good enough, and no matter how many times you change the manager, the team isn't going to get better. But Roma aren't Man United when it comes to spending power, so they can't just rebuild the squad in 2 or 3 windows where they can spend massively. Roma are going to have to look at the squad. They're going to want to probably get rid of the vast majority of the players, and they're going to have to spend their money wisely if they want to get back into the Champions League and back competing for the odd title. Because honestly, I don't see a situation where this current group of Roma players get anywhere near qualifying for Europe this season. I honestly think it's just going to be a season where they're going to want to stay in Serie A, which is a crazy thing to say, and then begin the rebuild next summer and try get back into Europe the following season, slowly build on it and get back to where they belong. But anyway, that's what I think about Roma's situation. Let me know what you think in the comments. Will Ranieri do similar to what he did with Leicester, keep Roma this season and win the league next season? Probably not, but let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you in the next one.